What's going on, everybody? It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Me and JJ, we here for the locker room. What's
What's
going
up?
on?
What's up, y'all? What's going on?
Chilling, chilling. How you been, JJ?
Say again.
I said, how you been? How you been?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good, hanging in, bro. I'm ready to get this started.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And to our audience, whoever comes on, we appreciate you. We thank you. We understand if nobody comes on, we're gonna still do our talking, and it'll be on YouTube. It'll be recorded, and we want to get it going and get it flowing. Like you said, we trying our very best to get some consistency. The four of us, our lives are busy. We trying to get that schedule in, trying to get that that consistency in. Right now, it's only two of us on the screen. Daedrin, he's either listening in, he's gonna be chiming in. And Giles just might even pop in. He may even pop in. He'll definitely be listening in. But we got an interesting topic today. Some of you may have seen it on my Instagram page. Hopefully, I sent the text message to a few of you guys too. Basically, men are essential. Men are essential. Even if you move into and say the value of a man is what we want to talk about today. We want to talk about the value of a man. And the reason why that we thought of this topic for all those that are listening and watching live and the recorded version, the reason why we started this topic is because I don't know. I feel like there are men, and I also feel like there are women who fall in the category of not understanding the value of a man, not understanding the value of a man, whether it's society, whether it's the way they were brought up, whether if it was something that they heard, they saw, whether it's their insecurities in themselves, whatever. I think there are men who don't feel valued from a partner, a wife. I think there are men who feel like society don't value them, right? And then internally they don't feel value, then they don't have value in themselves. And then also I think there's a lot of women that says, I don't need a man. I think we could just kind of like sum that up. I don't need a man. And I'm talking about the women with children, right? If you're an individual woman and you ain't got no children, maybe we could talk about that. But if you got children and you say you don't need a man and you got children, hey, I got a problem with that. I got a problem with that. So JJ, before we get into it, what's your thoughts in general? What you've been hearing, what you've been feeling, just on that little subject? I know we're going to look at some clips, going to talk about an article, but what's your thought on all I said and more?
So I'm hearing you, and it's kind of got my juices flowing a little bit, right? Because I agree with what you're saying, and we didn't pre-talk about this stuff. Like, we didn't give our views, opinion ahead of time, so we're freestyling this as we were doing this together. But I could probably say that we're probably alike about a lot of things, and like the title says, men are essential. I don't want to. How can I say this? I feel like men and women as human beings can be equal, right? As human beings, right? Just because you want to be the best human being you can be. Mm-hmm. But as the gender, when you throw in the men and women, I don't think we're equal. But I don't mean that as in we are more than them or they are more than us. I think that we bring things to the table that they may not be able to do, and vice versa. Yeah. So that's where the essential part comes in. I personally feel like men are essential in kids' lives. You made the point of, if it's a single woman that doesn't have any kids, okay, you know what? Maybe the way you're living your life, and that's perfectly fine that you don't need a man. But as a kid, and I think more specifically for a mother that's maybe raising a young man, I feel like a man is essential for sure. Because there's going to be things that a man is going to be able to teach that young boy that a woman may not have the best advice for.
Yeah, I got you.
But to be fair, to be equal, it's the same thing. Like, so when I say this, I don't want to come across as being misogynistic or anything like that, because that's the furthest thing for what I'm saying. Because ultimately, I could easily say that, raising a young woman, there's going to be some things as a man, yeah, I can teach her, but I'm not going to be able to teach her everything, how to be a young woman, how to be a woman, how to be a grown woman. I won't be able to teach her that fully. So it kind of goes both ways. But I like I said, just to wrap up my point, like, I do feel men are essential in children's lives in general, even more so if you're raising a young man.
Absolutely. no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And D Hall is commenting now. He is, of course, one of our, the panelists. Every time we come around, he's busy, doing something. But he commented and said, "Be careful, fam. Be careful, fam." Which we know, that we treaded on, on water. But you know what's funny about this topic is that, and I'm gonna get to your question, Daedrin. What's funny about this topic is, and the way I want to make sure that I don't go in my comments is that, and is that like when we say things about men, just women, if you're watching now or you watch it later, when we give men credit, that does not mean we are discrediting you.
Thank
right? You. Right. So I want to kind of like let you just kind of like say that. So if we say men are providers or men are protectors, that does not mean that women aren't protectors. Right. So don't come for our throats and be like, yeah, but I protect too. You might, but we ain't talking about that.
Right.
Right now, we ain't talking about that. Right now we talk about men. But Deja also said, but what if she feels her brother or father can take care of that? And I, and Jada, you can speak on that. But I also, if that means like, something that she can do, or the kids or whatever the case like that, I still feel like that's still a man. You know what I mean? Like I don't think we're saying that husbands are necessary, right? We're saying men. JJ, on you got it.
No, I totally agree with that. And then it also kind of goes into a deeper point too, where and I hear that point that a brother or father could help out with the child. Like I hear that point, but the deeper point is that may not be their full responsibility, because that brother or father may still have their own family that they have to, adhere to, protect, and provide for, right? So that's not necessarily their main priority. And like I said, where it kind of gets deeper is like, one thing I was told as a kid, and I remember my father said, like, and I might have mentioned this on other talks we've had, but my father said to me, he was like, listen, this is your family right now, but one day you're going to have your own family. That's right. And that's going to be your first priority. That's right. Right. So he said, so your mom and your dad, yes, we know you love us and this, that, and the other, but we will not be your first priority once you have your own family. Yeah. And so that's why I said it kind of gets a little bit deeper, where yes, a brother and a father could help out, but that may not be their first priority especially if they have their own families to attend to. Yeah. So getting to the point of where there could be a boyfriend or a husband, yes, then there's that essential part that is needed in a child's life.
Absolutely. No, hands down. Hands down all the way. And we're going to get into a short, real quick video. It's really kind of funny, but I want to just go right into what I feel like it shows. And I think every mom or woman would agree to this one. But it also want to piggyback off of what JJ said too. Like we'll get into like what level that it like a male brings to a male, but even female, even a male to a female, like I really do. And I'm gonna get into some trouble, but who cares? But
we here now. We here now.
We here. I feel like I honestly feel like I'm trying to tell you. I feel like there's a voice that the dad has for a female that only, not that, it's hard to say only, but it's predominantly his responsibility. When I say, he said so much for being careful. So when I say something to my daughter and say, you are loved, or you are this, or you are beautiful, or you are a princess, you are wonderful, whatever words of affirmation that I give her, I really believe that my voice weighs more. And when I say that, I really do, to my daughter than the mom. Now, some may say, no, our voices are equal. I just personally don't think so. I personally think that, listen, a daughter would know that she is beautiful when her dad tells her she's beautiful. And it could be because it's coming from a man. It's not coming from a female. It's coming from a man. I need to hear that from a man, right? Do she believe that she's beautiful? She does, 1,000%. When her mom says it, but when her father says it, even and I think my wife, she's encouraged me. Hey, make sure you pour, because she remembers what her dad did to her, and she said, hey, look, make sure you affirm our daughter. Make sure you affirm her. Because I remember my dad affirming me and how much
Right.
I felt, which she never said. I remember my mom affirming me. She didn't said I need my mom to do it. She said my dad made me feel like a princess when he said you're my princess. You know. Go ahead, JJ. You good?
No, and I was saying, like, just to piggyback off of what you just said, and there's so many times, how many times do people say where a young girl will look for a man that's very similar to her dad,
That's right.
right?
Yep.
Because of how she's treated at home. And, it's like, hey, we see it in TV shows. They kind of mimic it in TV shows and things like that, where they be like, oh, well, look at the young man that she chose. He's just like you, that type of thing. So I agree with you. And I mean, you can speak to it more than I can while you're raising a young daughter. I know what it was like in my household too. And we're going to get into that more as well about, some of the things that how we were raised versus now how we're raising our own families. But yeah, like I have a young son. You have both, and you can speak to that. But yeah, I do feel like the man's voice, the man's just being present, his presence, and the things that he says, the affirmations, like you said, it will hit a little different.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this because you already know that you prefaced our conversation by saying doesn't mean that we're not saying that the woman's isn't important. I'm just saying I do think that a man's presence and his voice and his affirmations do mean they hit different, especially in our communities where the Black man may not be as present in the family's life, right?
Yeah.
Like you got a lot of Black men locked up, Black men that may not be just present in their child and the family's life. So when somebody is there and they are present and they are giving the affirmations and showing the love and showing up to the to the daddy daughter dance, they're showing up to a father son, whatever the case may be, they're showing it does hit different. It does hit different.
I totally agree. Totally agree. And Deidre says that's where the whole dad little girl comes from. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that too, Deidre. That's where it comes from. Dad little girl. Like it's just something about it. It's just something about it. It's just something about it. So we are needed. But I'm gonna show us some real quick, obvious reasons why men / fathers are kind of like important. I think this is a funny one, but it's also an obvious one. I'm gonna try my very best to share my screen. Be patient with me because I don't even know what I'm doing.
We here. We got you. We got you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I think I got it. So let me see. Y'all can see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me go ahead and press play and so make sure you can hear my man. Is he up? Yeah, he up. It's an 18-second clip. So
this is an example right here of why a father needs to be in the home.
You have to sleep.
No, I want bed.
You're sick.
No, I'm not.
You're sick.
No.
Lay down, be quiet.
simple right there.
The father has spoken.
He showed up and he showed up. He showed up and jumped right in that bed when daddy came in. Right? Like,
sure.
Like now, don't get me wrong, right? And like John said, simple, right? Courtney, well, your wife, my wife, right? They ain't gonna let that first part slide. Let's be real, right? You know what I mean? That whole no, I ain't going to bed. They ain't letting that slide. Like that's extreme, right? But they do the kids do get away with a little bit more. Do get away with a little bit more, and because
facts.
I ain't saying that they saying no. Nah, they ain't getting away with that with our wives, but. It's like, hold on. But when we come in that room, it's like, oh, and we saw what the dad do. Dad didn't even say nothing. Like you said, the dad came on the scene. He just
showed up, showed out.
He just run in the bed. He just right on the bed.
For real.
He got under the cover, turn the lights off, say good night. Absolutely. Now, now for you, JJ, for you. Speak on that from you and your father, and now correlating that to you and your son. Was that same oh, here come daddy type of thing? And is that the same way it is now with your son?
So I feel like growing up, my dad was like more that stereotype. He was more the disciplinarian in the house, right? And where my mom disciplined too, but my mom was a little bit more like easygoing, fun, having all that type of stuff. But then when she get mad, and you know, whatever. I kind of grew up in a household too, where my mom would be like, if she felt like we weren't paying enough attention to what she was saying, it was like, wait till your father get home. And then it was like, oh man, we in trouble. Like, dad come home, you know, this and the other. So there was definitely those times where he didn't have to say much and things got done or things got handled. And that's just what it was. Now, fast forward to now, me being a father, and I have a 13-year-old, you know, we've talked about it before. Like, my son is a sweetheart. Like, there's very few times where I had to really like get with him or anything like that about stuff. But you know, but listen, he's still a kid, and there are times when I do have to be like, "Excuse me, sir." That's what I said. Excuse me, sir. And then the next thing you know, things get handled, right? Because I'm not in the business of negotiating, and I'm not negotiating and having this back and forth. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So I guess there is some of that. I guess, you know, leftover stuff from my childhood, like my father and stuff like that. Like, I'm not going back and forth with you. Like, just not doing that. So, and I feel like just as a father, as a husband, like I love my kid, but I love my wife. You're not gonna disrespect my wife. So, and not that it's disrespect, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not doing all the arguing back and forth. So if your mother says something, I come in there like I don't want to hear nothing else. Like, that's just what it is. And so we just not doing this song, and we're not doing this back and forth. We're not doing this dance. We're not doing that. No. I know what I'm saying is not unreasonable, so therefore you need to do it. It's simple as that.
Simple as that. So I think I shared with you guys, and I'm gonna get to you guys' comments in a second. What I shared with you guys a little while ago, I preached on it maybe like 2 weeks ago. I don't negotiate with terrorists. Word. This is what it is. This is what it is. This is what it is, and this is the way it's going to be. Like I said, go to bed. But can I stay? Look, don't go now. And the reason why I do that, for the most part, is because, don't get me wrong, like say that I don't give it to my kids. Yeah, sometimes I do, but for the most part, if you know that it's not your no and your yeah is never your yeah, or your no is not your no, they're gonna know that. And they're gonna be like, yo, daddy, like he easy. I can get him to say yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, nope, not me. Somebody try to blackmail you for $10,000, you give them $10,000. They spend the $10,000. What do you think they're doing? They're gonna come back for more money. Like,
for more money.
They're gonna keep coming back. Come on. So it's simple math. But Dayton said the same thing you said. He was like, he said, yup, wait till your dad get home. Sister and myself straighten right on up. I'm gonna get the Jao comment, but I'm gonna say what Daydream comment. He says, this is for you, JJ. As you were talking about Carter, he said, plus he can high kick you in the face.
Y'all looking at it now. Yo, that's crazy.
That is insane. And for everybody that don't know, JJ's son is really, really good. It is karate. So correct me wrong. It's karate, but
it is karate. Yes, okay, it is karate.
Phenomenal in karate. Phenomenal. We went down to Atlantic City. Went to go support him. Brought home mad hardware. I don't think he had enough hands. I don't know. And then of course he's been all around the United States doing stuff. So hats off to him. And
appreciate that.
Yes, sir. And then Jao, even with me and Mel, not to put her on the spot, great mom, but it takes like 4 to 5 times to Jazz to do something. But when I say it, it's a done deal. That's just what it is,
Yeah.
It's what it is. It's just what it is.
And there's a lot of different elements to that too. Like you can look at like, typically, right? This doesn't mean all the time, but typically a man might be bigger than the woman, right? The father might be bigger than the mom. The voice, the deep voice, all these type of things kind of go into that too. Especially when we talk about young kids, they look at them like, oh, dad, like, deep voice. Oh, dad, he's a bigger guy. That type of stuff. So all those things kind of play a part in that too.
Yeah. And guess what? We're going to take advantage of it.
Oh, 1000%. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. I got a deep,
Whatever gets the job done.
I got a deep voice for a reason.
Yeah. If that gets you to bed earlier, okay, then that's what's up.
Whatever. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care. You know, but I don't. And I guess I don't know. Like, do you? This is kind of another topic, but same topic. Do you want your kids in the beginning? Are your kids listening to you because they understand you, or are your kids listening to you because they're afraid of you? Like, I don't really know what you're saying because can't comprehend all that. I just know you mean, and I'm not mean. I just know that you're being aggressive. I just know that you're being loud, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so what? So when they 3, 4, do they really comprehend a no and the reason why I said no? Or are they just looking at daddy and I don't want him to be that way?
So I think that's a loaded question because I do think there's an element of fear, but that's because when we talk about young kids, they're still trying to figure it out, their emotions and things like that. So it's probably easy for them to say that they're fearful, but it doesn't mean that you're being like you're forcing them to be scared, right? Like if you're a young kid and you hear somebody with a deep voice or they're talking like the kid was going to say mean or the kid is going to say, oh, you're angry. But you as an adult might say, no, I was just talking firmly. I wasn't talking, so mean and sounding like a monster. I'm just talking firmly. Right. And so I think like when you're a kid, you're 3 years old to even 2 years, even 1 years old, like kids have a way of communicating even when they don't know how to actually say it to you that way, but they know how to be like, okay, I see his eyes. I see the way he's talking, the tone of his voice. They can sense that. And then, it comes across as fear because they don't know all their emotions yet. But as you get older, it may not be as fear. It might be like, oh, you're being mean. Oh, you're angry right now. The I guess how they develop and learn how to communicate and get in touch with their feelings, it might change. It doesn't mean that you're being mean. It just means that like I'm being firm, right? Like if people say I'll be firm, but I'll be fair. Like that's just what it is. Like, yeah, I may talk in a certain tone, but it doesn't mean I'm being mean. I'm just trying to get my point across firmly, and that's just what it is.
Absolutely. That's great. I love it. And to all the men that's listening now, listening later, right? Like this is not just for women to know like we essential. This is for you to know that you're essential, right? Because sometimes we can play that passive role. I'm gonna lay in the back, put my hand on my head, watch the game, let you like again, we want to be transparent. My dad was the kind of like, love him to death, rest in peace, Big Jim. But my dad was he was the go ask your mom. Go ask your mom. Go ask your mom. What your mom say? Man, what you say? You know what I mean?
Right. Like now I got to go back upstairs and ask him. Like I'm asking you.
I'm sure you got an opinion on this. I'm sure you do. But I get it. And but I want every man in here to know, man, please know you're important. Please know your kids need you. Please know that we want to make sure that that your voice count. And to go one further, I'm gonna go one further. We talk about kids a lot, but I'm gonna talk to all the married men. Your wife needs you. Your wife needs you, right? You know what I mean? You ain't married. You're not married just to be just on a piece of paper or to be a provider, air quotes, right? You married because you got a voice for her too. You know what I'm saying? You got support for her too. Every woman should be able to say, hey, without my husband, I would not have this. You know what I mean? And I ain't talking about money. I ain't talking about cars. I'm talking about, look, he gives me confidence. He gives me security. He gives me love, whatever it may be. Like it should always be, without my husband, I wouldn't have ... You should be able to finish that line. If you can't finish that line, y'all got some talking to do, in my opinion.
Right. Like you didn't want to just say you married a bump on the log that's just going to just kind of just be there taking up space.
Absolutely. Not at all. Not at all. And so every man, you're important, period. Every man, you're important to your children, you're important to your wife. I know we can stay on children a lot because it's like, that's what, no, but my wife needs me. Like my wife needs me. So anyway, so I came across this. John was like, yeah, talk about our dad. John's my brother. Everybody knows that. Clearly he was talking about my dad, but when it came to discipline, Big Jim, he ain't play. He ain't play at all. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, he gonna give us the business, as what JJ was saying. He gonna give us the business, and he gonna make sure that we are falling in line. But the problem with in my family when it came to discipline, we got tag team. So it wasn't like one wasn't. My mother and father was. It's like, one threw me off the turnbuckle, one other one closed. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. He whip you on the thing and he come with the clothesline.
Yo, tag team moves is crazy.
Who had the leg drop? Hulk Hogan, right?
Yeah, Hulk Hogan had the leg drop.
Wait. I know
you know.
I know we're trying to get as professional as we can be. But question, sidebar real quick. How can that be a finisher? How can that leg drop be a finisher? Like, I'm getting up for it.
Well, that's the 80s.
Okay,
that is definitely not a finisher now.
Okay. Got you. Without a doubt. That's funny. I came across this article and I want to kind of read it. And again, it's going back to, what JJ said earlier, man, these, women and boys and stuff like that. So this is a while ago. This article dates back to 2014, about 10 years ago. And this is when Jenny McCarthy was co-host on The View. Not many of them. It was when The View was like three people. It was Jenny McCarthy, it was Whoopi, and it was Sherry Shepherd. And
Jenny McCarthy is the one. That was the one that was on like 90210 or something. Is that the one?
Oh, sure. No, Jenny McCarthy is that. What's your, no, not who on 90210. Like that's my show, so I know everybody on that show.
Or is she the one that's married to one of the Backstreet Boys or something?
Johnny Wahlberg or Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, one of the new kids on the block joints. But she was on here. Terry Crews was the was a host. Was a guest. I don't know if it was about Father's Day. I don't know what the reason he was on there for, to promote probably Brooklyn Nine-Nine or something like that. And it says basically, I'm gonna read a little bit. Guest co-host Terry Crews made a passionate plea for the importance of a father in a child's life. So, okay, he came in there and said, hey, look, I'm calling all dads to be in a child's life, right? Yes, she used to be with Jim Carrey, absolutely. It's important for a father to be in a child's life, right? He goes on to say a few things. I posted something on social media. People got angry at me. And what I said was that there are some things that only a father can give. He says only a father can give. Now people went, wait, my mama. I said, hold up. This is what I believe. I believe this is from my heart. We care more for, I'm not sure what that means, but at the same token, he went on to talk about how fathers can only give certain things. Jenny McCarthy, who has a son, basically was like, yeah, I don't believe that. I really don't believe that. She shot back at him and says basically, trying to get it. I'm a single mother, and I can guarantee you that I can give Evan, my son, every one of those things also. And I'm not sure what those things were because it's not listed in the article, but whatever.
Okay.
If it's discipline, if it's confidence, if it's affirmations, as we said, right? She said, I can give you everything you said. I can give my son the same thing. But Goldberg goes to say, I was raised by a single mother. And the story I got from my dad was, you're kind of on your own, babe. Goldberg said, that's the story I got. What I got from my mother was, you may be on your own, but you're not alone, right? So basically, I think what that means is McCarthy argued that she was able to imitate what a man does in ensuring confidence for her kids, right? Basically, like I can give, basically, so JJ, speak on that, right? I know it kind of was like a lot, right? A lot of it wasn't really put together, but all in all, I think what she's saying is basically, I can give my son the same thing. Basically, I heard, I read, even when I heard it 10 years ago, I heard my son don't need a man. That's what I heard.
So I think that like that's interesting that she said that. And shout out to all the single parents, right? Raising kids, male or female. Shout out to all of them because that's not an easy job. I know that's got to be. Now that we got that out the way, now that we got it out the way, right? With her saying that, you ever see like whether it's TV shows or the talk shows, like people who were raised by single parents, eventually they want to know who their father was or who their mom was, right? Because that's just what it is, right? There's still that they and most of them will tell you they felt like they were missing something.
Yeah,
And since we're speaking about men, listen, I'm sure you did the best that you could, and you probably raised an upstanding human being. I'm sure of it. But there's still more to be had. There was still more to be learned. There's still more to be taught that a man could have provided that for. And like I said, it doesn't take away that you probably are raising a great human being because you are capable of doing that. But for a man, like, I'm going to mind what I say to a certain degree, but there's only but so much you can do. And it still could be a great job. You still could get an A on the paper. But maybe that plus that was missing would have been what that man could have provided if he was in the house.
Yeah.
So her saying that, like, yes, I'm sure she's confident. She felt like, and I don't know her whole situation as far as like how she raised her child or what the whole situation was like in the relationship was, but maybe she did raise him from newborn to how old the child is. And I'm sure she's doing a great job or the best job she can. But maybe it could have been even better. Or maybe there could have just been holes to fill that a man could have done.
Yeah.
So her saying that, it's kind of like, yeah, you may not need a man, but that child may need that man.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. And she could say that, right? And she can say that and say, I don't need a man, to your point, right? But like, and the point that I without, saying, verbatimly what you said, because I agree with everything, is that, yeah, your son could be good, but he could be great. You know what I'm saying? Or your son could be great. He could be greater, right? Whatever. There's all like the reason why, and again, not to get this way, but the reason why God intended for it to be husband and wife, or intended for it to be two people, because he knew both people was necessary. Like he knew that they both was necessary. He's not going to just say do it this way just for the sake of doing it. He knew that.
Like, I mean, we could go back to the old, not to cut you off, but we go back to the old term of saying the strength in numbers.
Basically, yeah. Come on,
right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we might be able to produce something even better if it's both of us here.
Absolutely. I mean, and I want to say this to her, right? I don't know her story or her dynamic in her household. If she got more than one job, 2, 3, there ain't no way she's saying she ain't need no man. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. You talking about when you out at the grocery store, you talking about when they need to do with that kid to go to bed, and you got one up and you got the other one hiding under the couch. How I'ma find them? Come on, like just little itty bitty things like that. You need, like, as we said, going back to my dad, what he did for me when our garage come up. Keena, I'm not in here to see it. Keena, tell me when my garage go up, because they hear me coming home. When the garage come up, they scatter like roaches, like shh, and they go. Like, you gotta see them. Like when they know you coming home, they like shh, kind of like nah, dad home, and that helps.
And I also say this too, like, so like you said, I don't know Jenny McCarthy. That's her name, Jenny McCarthy, right?
Uh-huh.
So I don't know the dynamic, but I'm gonna stereotype now by saying this. So she is an entertainer, actress, whatever you want to call it. She's in the industry, makes probably good money, right? So with that being said, like most of these celebrities, you probably have a nanny, you probably have a maid. So you need help though, because they're helping you with your child. So don't say it like you're doing it all by yourself. Like I said, I don't know the dynamic, but I'm just gonna kind of put that out there. A lot of people have nannies and this person or whatever to help out. So like, you need help.
Yeah.
You just chose to be a nanny or whatever, but don't sit here and say like you don't need help, like or or you don't need a man. Like you needed some assistance in raising these kids because you didn't do it all by yourself.
Come
You
on.
feel me? So
Of course you do. Absolutely you do. And then on what you were talking about even earlier, I know we went into the girls for a little bit in the men because I still think that's necessary affirmation. And, you know, again, dads that got daughters, speak to them, talk to them. You're going to make them feel like a princess. You're going to make them feel beautiful, right? You're going to do that. But also, too, on a natural sense, and I think you touched on it earlier, JJ, on a natural sense, like, how can you tell me about my body, Mom? You a man. I mean, you're a woman. Like,
right.
how can you don't know what I'm going through. The same way that, you know, when daughters go through that period in their life when they become, you know, that womanhood, whatever they call it, right? Like, I can't talk about that.
Right.
I can't talk about that.
I can read you something from the book, but I can't give you that real info. You know what I'm saying? Because yes, I can read from the book, or I could tell you kind of what I know. But I feel like experience is the best teacher, right? So like if I went through it, it may resonate more with the child because I'm telling you like, hey, listen, I went through this. This is what you need to look out for. Hey, this, that, and the other, right? But as a man, I can't tell a young girl who's going through her menstrual cycle that I you know what I mean? I can tell you what the book says, but it will come across probably as a little bit more rigid or a little bit more not so genuine because I can't give you actual examples or tell you that I went through it.
Yeah.
So it may not be received as well.
Yeah.
So I think there's a difference. And like I said, that's where the men and women dynamic is interesting because, you know, we can fill holes that they can't and vice versa. That's just what it is. And I feel like that's the beauty of it all.
Yeah.
That like somebody can come in and fill the holes that I can't fill.
Yeah.
So it's not a negative thing. I think it's a beautiful thing that like, hey, if I had somebody who is more experienced in this and they can tell their story and it's going to be received well, it's going to be, you know, it's going to resonate more. That's a great thing. So it's not like I'm not looking at it as a negative thing. I think that that's a positive thing that we need to like society needs to chill on this whole like man versus woman dynamic and this, that, and the other. Like, no, like we need each other. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it. And that's like you said, that's the beauty of it, where God created us to not necessarily think that we are independent people. Like, no, you need people. You need people. And it's okay to need people. It's okay to need people. Deacon Payne, that last one. Well, I'm gonna read the first one first. A man provides what a man can only provide. The perspective from a male point of view, from the lens of a man. That sounds like a commercial.
Word.
Yeah. If I get you, I give you say Deacon Payne, shaving hygiene. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
And it sounds simple, but it's real. Like, you know, listen, when I was growing up and, you know, like, and to your point, we were saying earlier about how we grew up versus how we're raising our families now. And, you know, things that we want to change or we have changed, or maybe we've kept the same about how we grew up. Like, you know, it was mentioned in the comments about the shaving and the hygiene, right? So as a young man, like, yeah, my dad told me some stuff. I remember him giving me a set of clippers, but he didn't cut his own hair. I had to learn that on my own. He gave me the clippers, but I had trial and error with that. Like I went to school with a bald spot on my head because I didn't know how to put a guard on. I just was, you know what I mean? Like I had a bald spot on my head. I had to go to high school with that. So you know the jokes I was getting that day. You know what I'm saying? Until it grew back. But like now, like you know, me having a son, you know, talk about hygiene and stuff. And we were talking about that at an early age. I'm like, listen, man, you know, you got to make sure you wash 10 your legs. You got to do this, you know, blah, blah, because, you know, whatever. So, and yes, that could be said for a girl too, but I just think as a young man, as they get older, going through puberty, there's going to be stories that we can tell and experiences, even if they don't want to hear it, but it'll resonate better, you know, from a man to a young boy. Absolutely. It just would.
Yeah, like you said, you can't become something you're not. Like you said, books and whatever else happening, you know. But even like I say, even other things though, like because even when it comes to, because I know we're talking about the physical aspects to a degree, but even when it comes to like settling your child down or your spouse down, when it comes to emotions, like hold on, slow down, don't be so right, because we're not we have emotions. We talked about that before in one of our sessions called He Emotions we were talking about. But we are not our emotions don't lead us. They're there, but they don't lead us. They don't like make us make decisions, and we don't we don't jump to the conclusions. All right. We go off logic. We go off like, okay, slow down. What did the person say? Nah, they said da 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 da. Whoa, slow down. What did the person say? I ain't say what you felt they said or what it sounded like. Tell me the actual words they said, right? So, we bring that balance. We bring that balance to our women. I'm sure every man on here can say, listen, I had to pump my wife's, my girlfriend brakes mad times. Like, yo, down, slow down. You know what I mean? So I feel like, go ahead. Oh, okay, go ahead. No, you're good. You're good. So I feel like, we as individuals, I feel like we as individuals can make sure that, as men more so can realize every individual in our life, we pour into that. Again, hygiene, tying a tie. I remember a man, like, honestly taught me how to shake a man's hand. I literally remember going to my pastor was visiting a guy at the hospital. Deacon Payne knows Mr. Hudson. Pastor Payne was visiting Mr. Hudson in the hospital, and I went with him. I'm like 18, 19 years old, and I shook his hand all flimsy, I wasn't holding it right. It was all flimsy, and he was like, "Nah, shake my hand like a man." I didn't know what he meant, but he showed me. He gripped that thing, and guess what? From that day on, I never left that. It never left my mind. It never
firm handshake, eye contact, all that stuff.
All that came from a man. And honestly, I don't think. Yes, and we need that. I don't think a woman can tell me that. I don't think that because they're not really shaking hands; they're hugging, right? So they don't, what I mean. Anyway, so it's just the list goes on and on about what a man brings to the table. So Jim McCarthy, unfortunately, I wasn't. The whole article not there. Don't want to kind of only talk about a clip, but based on what he said, if she can, then yeah, I agree. If she can tell her handshake, then yeah. So I feel like Jim McCarthy, I gotta disagree with you. I feel like there are some things that your son Evan is missing out because he don't have a man in his life. And again, I'm gonna go. I think Jay said it earlier. We ain't talking about a father. It could be an uncle. It can be a grandfather. But at the same point, you still can't give him what his father could give him. If his uncle's great, the grandfather's great, but if his father was where he needed to be and didn't act like craziness and walk out of his life, ain't no man gonna be better for you than your father and the person who God intended to be with you. Period.
And just to backtrack really quick about the whole handshake thing, I think yes, it's kind of go back to what we were saying earlier about people can tell you, they can read you what it says in the book, right? So a woman can tell you she can say, hey, you need to have a firm handshake, right? You can look in the eye, and that's cool, and that would be the right thing to say. But I also think that when he looks at his mom or whatever, he's gonna see that she doesn't really do that. He's gonna see the examples being set more from the dad when the dad does it, right? So. And like I said, it doesn't mean that it's not the right thing to say because she's saying the right thing. But if she's not practicing it herself and follow, what I'm saying? You said, if women don't usually greet each other like that, firm handshake. Yes, women do handshake, but they don't normally, they might greet like a hello if it's in the business place or whatever. Maybe some time with a handshake, but not the firm, because a guy is not going to shake a woman's hand the same way he's going to shake a guy's hand.
Yeah.
Right, you're a little bit more gentle with a woman when you shake her hand, right? You might still give the eye contact, but you're not gonna give that firm handshake because I've made that mistake before. I'm like, oh, I gonna broke her hand, my bad. You know what I mean? So I think it's just it's different coming from a guy because he's probably gonna be practicing that in his everyday life, and we know kids see everything. They may not be able to communicate that, but they see everything and they start following those models that are being set by the ones that are doing it. So coming from a dad or a man, it's going to hit a little bit different.
I agree. I got we ain't gonna be much longer, people. Like we said, we got about 15 minutes that for we 45 minutes in. I got one more video, it's real quick, 40 seconds. I want to show it's kind of on the same topic. We can speak on it. This is from a guy, he's a pastor, Mark Driscoll. And he's talking about what we're kind of talking about. So let's check this out real quick. Like I said. I want to say before I even press play, I want to say this. The video is entitled. I don't see the title of the video here. I want to say it's entitled like "Stop over mothering your sons." Stop over mothering your sons. I was like, yo, you wild for that one. You wild. For
Good luck. Good luck.
Stop over mothering your son. He ain't say stop smothering. Stop mothering your son. It's crazy.
Helicopter mama.
Facts. Here we go. And we can even, there was one article I told JJ about, but this one, the clips I didn't really tell you about. This clip I definitely didn't tell you about. So let me know what you talk. You think about it, and of course, our remainder 15 minutes we can talk about this and see what. Let me know what you think about it.
Young men are over mothered, under father. All the fathers said, amen. When the boy is little, does he need his mother? Yes. So mother's in the first position, father's in the second position. When the boy gets older, needs his father. Controversial, more than his mother. Because what happens when a boy is little, a mom's instincts are protect him, feed him, nurture him, keep him out of harm's way, make sure he succeeds and he feels good about himself. When he's in his 20s, dad says, you need to let him grow up, make some mistakes, stumble over his own feet, earn his own food, get off the payroll, lose a little bit. If you don't have a father who steps in those crucial years, you get boys all the way to retirement. They never become men.
He was talking, wasn't he? He was talking, wasn't he?
He was talking. That man was talking. He was talking. He was talking. He was talking.
And I was listening. I was listening.
Look, you in the beginning, the mom the boy needs him, protect me, make sure I don't go that far off and scrape my knees when I fall, right? But after that, I got it. I got it from here. For the most part, like we get what he's saying. Like he's not saying like the mom can go and leave his life forever. He knows that the mom, but he's saying that he said this Sunday, sermon pastor, like preach that this Sunday, no doubt. I got you. But yeah, it's really what he said, man. It's like we gotta let them fall. We gotta let them fall. We gotta let them.
And it's okay. It's okay. You're not gonna purposely let them get all messed up and things like that. But like, it's okay to make a mistake, right? It's okay to be inconvenienced. It's okay, like, because that, as they say, like, it builds character. Because I also want to know how you're going to handle adversity. Life isn't going to go smooth sailing all the time. We would all want that to happen, but that's not life, right? Once you get to be a certain age, you start realizing, like, oh yeah, like, nah. And so there's lessons that I think my dad was trying to teach me when I was younger that I didn't understand because I was too young to understand, right? Like I'm thinking, I'm just using the age as an example. I'm thinking as a 13-year-old. So my brain is not really comprehending to what, my dad is 30 years older than me. So if I'm 13, he's 43, like I'm not comprehending like a 43-year-old would. I only have the comprehension of a 13-year-old. So he's trying to teach me a lesson. I'm like, oh, you just being mean. Like, oh my gosh, like blah, blah, blah. As I get older, I start realizing, like, okay, there was some lessons in what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
I may not have agreed with it, but I understand what he was trying to teach. That, like, listen, life is going to throw you curveballs constantly. Like, I'm 46, about to be 47. I'm still trying to figure out life because even as we're talking, right, I want everybody to be clear. Like, whether you're a father or a man or a woman listening to this, I do not have it all figured out. Like, yes, this is coming from experience, what we're talking about, but I'm still trying to figure it out on a day-to-day basis.
Sure.
On a day-to-day basis, I do not have it all figured out. So, you know, these stories, like with in that video, like what he was saying, like I totally get it. Listen, sometimes, you know, I got to see how you got to handle adversity, because if you're just going to cower in a corner, it's going to be a hard life for you.
Yeah.
You got to be able to fight back, and not necessarily with these, but you got to be able to use this. Sometimes you're going to have to use your heart. Sometimes, like, so the teaching that we get from, you know, the nurturing part that we might get from a woman or mom or whatever, I'm going to need that too. But there's going to be some lessons that know, like, okay, for instance, we talk about young men or whatever, right? They're going to get girlfriends. They might get their heart broken.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, it's going to happen, but I want to see how you bounce back. Your car might have a flat tire. I want to see how you're going to handle it. Are you just going to stand on the side of the road, be mad? You know, whatever. How are you going to handle it? Are you going to be resourceful? Like, how are you going to handle that? And that's where I feel like we could teach them, especially as they become young men, right? Get to that point as they become young men. How are you going to handle that?
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. And we also, I think, JJ, we can speak for each other, right? We understand the mom, right? We understand how you're emotionally led, right? We get that. So we're not even mad that you, to a degree. Like, I get why you want to run and come and save the day, because this your baby. This your boy. This your, like, oh my goodness, like, he can't be out there without no coat on. He went outside without a coat on. He gonna be cold. He chose to walk outside without a coat.
Facts.
And we told him that it was cold. He know the weather, so I'm not going to that school giving him no coat. But
I am not in the business of repeating myself.
I'm not. One of my sayings in church when we have meetings, and Deidre and John Deacon Payne can attest, your lack of planning is not my emergency. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. It's not, right?
I say the same thing. A lack of planning your part does not constitute an emergency on mine. I get it.
It doesn't. You knew what you was walking out for. So, but mom, we get that you want to run and come and save the day because these are babies. We get it. We definitely get it. But as we understand you, I need for you to understand us, right? Understand the fact that dad is trying to let this we are not raising these kids to stay kids. We are raising these kids to become adults, right? So let him be a dad. Let him lead. Let him discipline. They ain't gonna die, but I get you. I guess what? They will learn. They ain't gonna die, but they're gonna learn.
So let me say this real quick, because I know we're about to wrap up soon, but let me just say this. Let me throw this out as a question for the women, right, that may be listening to this. Most women, right, when they're coming up and they want to, you know, have a man in their life, right? Mm-hmm. I would be willing to bet that most women would say they don't want no, I'm using the term soft man that don't know how to do nothing and this, that, and the other, right?
True.
But sometimes we have to look back and say, like, okay, well, how was this child raised? If he was raised by his mom, right? That, because we know there's a lot of single parent moms out here, right? That they had a part in that. That, like, okay, you know, they always, you know, like you said, we don't want the kid to obviously die or do nothing crazy, but like, if you're always going to coddle, they're not going to know how to be a man that some young woman or a woman is going to want as you get older. So how are we going to fix that? You know what I'm saying? How are we going to fix that? How are we going to fix that? Because you can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, I'm going to coddle my baby. But then when he goes out and he finally goes out there and he becomes a young man, he's looking for a girlfriend and the girlfriend is looking for a boyfriend. She's going to look at him as a potential suitor, but then might say, like, nah, like, you don't know how to do nothing. You, like, you know, you don't know how to handle nothing, or you don't know how to do anything. You don't know how to do this. You cry and this, that, and the other. You can't keep running to your mama. What's happening here? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what's happening here? So,
Crazy.
You know, I asked that question to the women.
That's a great question. They're gonna be like, are they gonna get yoked up by Ving Rhames like Jody did? You know what I mean? One or the other, you go put them in a headlock. You know, something gonna happen. You know, but again, it's another trend going around where, like, you know, the moms are somewhat treating their sons like boyfriends. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, whoa, like, hold on, like my man should be coming asking me for money because he's my man. But if you,
right.
You know what I'm saying? But if you my son and you like 19, 20, No, you can't get no $100. Go get a job. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Nah. Like you my son. You ain't my man. But you gotta, as you're saying, and that's a great point you made, JJ, because you want your man to be tough, hard, changing tires and getting jobs and not taking no for an answer and going be grinding and stuff like you want that, but you didn't raise that. How do you want that if you didn't raise it?
Agreed.
You didn't raise it. You anything he wanted, you was like, all right, here you go. I'll pick you up. I'll take you home. I'll say yes. Nah, it's a no sometimes. You want to go there, again, JJ said, your son 13. Again, my daughter's 14, but my son is about to be 18 in a couple of weeks. It's, bro, you're going to have to figure that out, man. You're going to have to figure that out. I love you. I love you, but right now it's a no. Right now, you got to figure that part out because I'm raising him to be a man. You know what I mean? So that pastor was on point. He was definitely on point. The question that JJ just asked, all you women who's watching now or may watch later, ask that, and then also too, the biggest thing I want to leave my last sentiments is, let's let two things. One thing for the men, know your worth, man. Like, don't let society dictate how valuable you are. Like, I don't care what TV says. I don't care what society say. I don't care what day is not celebrated as much as the next day. You know your worth, right? This does not mean that you are better. This just means that you are valuable. There is no superior gender. No woman is not better than men. Men are not better than women, right? There are no superior gender, but there's neither inferior gender, right? We're equal, as JJ said earlier. We're equal. I mean, we both need each other, right? But every man are here. Please, please, please know your worth. Know your voice is needed. Know your counsel is needed. Know your love is needed. Know your affirmation is needed. Know your guide. It's needed. Like without you, some of our women will be lost. Without you, our children will be lost, right? And women, let my man lead. Let him be a father. Let him be a dad. Let him be a husband. Let him do him. Don't get in the way. Don't get in the way. Let him do him. Like, let him, like, whoa, Heisman, whatever Heisman trophy. Like, yo, no, stay over there, bro. Stay over there. You know what I mean? Because I want you to do you. Let you lead. Now, if you feel somewhere I messed up in my tone or I messed up in, right, in my delivery, cool, right? I'll take it. But tell me in the bedroom. Tell me in the bedroom, like, hey, look, I think you could have kind of did that a little bit. Okay, I'll take that for the next time. I'll take that for the next time. So for me, that's my last sentiment. My first sentiment is to the men, know your worth. You're valuable. To the women, let your man lead. Let him lead. Let him love. Let him be a father. That's all I got to say. JJ?
Last thing I'll say, and I appreciate what you said because I agree with that 100%. Last thing I'll say is something that was passed on to me recently. Like I kind of knew it before, but like I think when you hear it, I think we need to do that more now. So like as you're saying the affirmation of like, hey, listen, you're needed, and you're needed, blah blah blah, this and the other. I think as Black men too, we have to talk to our fellow Black men.
That's good.
And be perfectly fine and tell them, hey, you're doing a good job.
That's
you're doing a good job. It could be something as simple as that, like because a lot of times in society, as we're talking about it, it's not talked about enough. It doesn't seem like you have worth sometimes, right? Like if you let society tell it, sometimes there is no worth there. But I feel like we have to get into the business of telling our fellow Black men, hey, you're doing a great job, whether it be a father or just being a husband, being a young man, whatever. You're doing a good job, especially if you see it. Like if you see it, like you should say it. And I'll give a perfect example. I went to a friend of mine's. I'll say, let me start at this. I met a guy.
I think you frozen, JJ.
Because I feel like it's needed.
Are you good?
I went to
you was frozen. Say it again. You said you went to you back now. No? You back now.
Oh, we good?
Yeah, you good now. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Good.
Yeah, I was told by a friend of that I met through karate. He just came to me randomly, and this is around the time that like my mom had passed, and he just said, listen, man, he just dapped me up and was like, listen, you're doing a great job, man, as a father. Like, he just said it, and I was like, wow, like I wasn't expecting to hear that. And that made me feel good hearing that. And so I went to recently I went to a friend of mine's, his daughter had a sweet 16 party. And I just saw what they provided for their daughter and the things like we seen the little girl grow up and this, that, and the other, and they're good friends of ours. And I just pulled them to the side and I said, listen, man, hey, I just want to let you know. I said, I don't have to tell you this because I feel like, you probably know this already, but I want to tell you this. You're doing a great job as a father, man. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. He's been a father a lot longer than me. That's why I feel like I didn't have to tell him that because he's been a father a lot longer than me. But I was like, listen, man, I just wanted to pass it on to you that you're doing a great job. So I feel like we have to get into the business of telling, our fellow Black men, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it.
I think we on to something here, JJ. I think we on to something, man. Because I feel like you're unlocking two things with that. One, you're unlocking the power of a man's voice, right? But you're also unlocking the fact that a man can share that, right? Because men are we're prideful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really like that congratulations type of like think about it, like you're not really on social media, right?
Nah.
Right, but on social media, some men say it's hard for them to hit the like button. Like I want to hit the like button, but I'm a man, so I can't like your post. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like some like me, I'm okay with it to some degree. Some I'm not. Sometimes I'm hard like, right? But I think when you do that, you kind of unlocking both. You're unlocking the fact that the man can speak to the man, and we're not just at the schools. I see them teachers or the Black men go around the beginning of the school year clapping up for the kids when they go back to school. That's needed. That's needed. But also, what I hear you saying is, hey, look, don't forget, we can do that to the men, right? Not just the young men, but we can pour into the actual men. That's
it's
yeah,
needed.
It's needed.
It's needed.
Yeah,
and not for nothing, like I said, if nothing else, it make you feel good. It touches you. You know what I'm saying? As we become older, as you become older, you feel things a little bit differently than you did when you was a kid. And when somebody acknowledges you, I'm not great with attention, like we said earlier, right? Like I appreciate any accolade that somebody would give me, but I don't know how to always handle it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't like a whole lot of attention because, like I said, it just makes me feel a little weird. I don't know how to, do I smile? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But hearing those affirmations coming from a fellow man and out of like, it couldn't have been anything that like, it doesn't necessarily have to be anything that I actually did at that moment, but just to come out of the blue and say that makes me feel good. I ain't gonna lie, it makes me feel good. So I want to pass that on to somebody else. And I feel like we should continue to do that because it's needed and it does make you feel good. I don't care what nobody said, it make you feel good.
And at the end of the day, it makes you feel good and it makes you want to keep doing good. You know what I'm saying? Like you should already want to keep doing good. I get it, even if don't nobody see me. But that gives me an extra incentive. Like, oh, okay. You like it's like okay, going to women, right? When you can tell your wife, thank you for this food, right? Your food was good today. She is gonna want her, it's gonna give her the incentive to keep making you food because you appreciate the food. It's going now. If you don't tell her thank you, if you don't do other stuff, she's gonna be like, "I'm gonna make it, but am I really putting my heart in it? Am I really giving it my everything?" Because you don't even seem like you appreciate it, right? So it's gonna make that father say, "All right, yo, JJ noticed me. Yo, Adrian noticed me. All right, cool. You know what? I'm going to bed feeling good right now, and I'm waking up thinking of what can I keep on doing, right? And then I'm reminded, and whatever. Somebody see me, somebody notice me. So I think you're onto something. I definitely think you're onto something. And if we can't make this into no national movement, right? You got enough men in your life to to go up to them and be like, yo, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job.
I'm telling you, man, it definitely, because I wasn't expecting it. And it made me be like, wow, like somebody's noticing something that like you said, I'm not doing this for the accolade. I'm doing this because I love my family. I want to be able to do, I want to be the best version of me as I can. And that's an everyday, grind to do, right? Like, I don't, like I said, I don't have the answer, Sway. Like I'm still trying to figure it all out. But at the same time, like when you do get that, affirmation, it feels good, man. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. So I feel like we should like look into that a little bit more. And I'm guaranteed it'll put a smile on the gangster's face.
I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. I know I like it, man. I like it. Absolutely. So this is the locker room. Y'all heard it here first from me and JJ. You heard us. Men are essential. Every man out there, know you're essential. Know your worth. Know your value. Don't let anybody dictate to you if you worth a lot or you worth a little bit. Right? You determine your own value. You determine that you are valuable. And every woman, again, every wife, every mom, let him be him. Let him do him. Get out the way. He good. You married him, so you trust him, right? You with him, you trust him, right? Let him do what he gonna do. All right. So again, we trying to be more consistent with this thing. Every other month, we coming back. You heard it here first, right? If it's two of us, if it's three of us, if you don't see me on the screen, every other month we gonna be on here. Next month it's gonna be something. Every other month it's gonna be something light. It's gonna be some basketball talk, right? It's gonna be some football talk. It's gonna be some sitcoms. It's gonna be some movies.
Martin.
It's gonna be yeah. It's gonna be the whole episode gonna be on Martin, right, Daedrin? The whole episode gonna be on
top three favorite Martin episodes.
yeah, so the top three favorite clips. Him punching a puppy. That ain't no puppy.
That ain't no puppy. That's crazy.
That's crazy. That's crazy. We appreciate y'all, JJ, Jowd, and Daedrin for being on. We appreciate y'all coming out. I know y'all had long days. Some of y'all still in your days, and some of y'all just getting home from your days. Deacon Payne, I know you had a long day too, and praying for you. And I know you had small groups and everything, but you came on and you did that. So
we appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So we'll check y'all. Like you say, they say he won't be on that one with the Martin one. I get
of
it.
Course.
Even though every time we do a clip, you seen it. I know that one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he know it. He know it.
You watch them all. You be up at night. You're like up at night.
It is a little funny.
Yeah, it's a little funny. He said, "Jowd talk about Tommy being a great actor." Yeah, I don't think Jowd gonna talk about that one. I don't think Jowd gonna be on. So, but that's it. We signing off. Peace, everybody, and we will see y'all in 2 months. Peace.
Peace.